In today's episode, we're going to be continuing our cryptid tour of North America, where we visit 5 states per episode. Colorado, the Centennial State, seems to be a hot spot for cryptid sightings of all kinds. Colorado hosts thousands of people every year for its scenery and roadside attractions. Perhaps one of the most unique of these destinations is the UFO Watchtower in Alamosa. This watchtower is located in the San Luis Valley and offers visitors an amazing 360-degree viewing of the surrounding desert and open sky. There are several statues of aliens on the grounds and UFO garden. There have purportedly been several UFO sightings in the same area, which makes it a desirable destination to check off the avid UFO enthusiast bucket list. In fact, the whole Four Corners area offers a plethora of everything from ghost towns to UFO viewing areas, all to satiate cryptid aficionados. Stories of sightings of skinwalkers, trolls, Bigfoot, aliens, and so much more makes Colorado a must-see state. And in 2020, a woman living in Colorado reported seeing what she described as a troll on her home surveillance footage. Vivian Gomez posted the video to her Facebook page, and the 8-second clip went viral soon after. The video shows a small, lanky figure with skinny arms and legs approaching the woman's door, and then turn and walking bow-legged down the driveway and out of view. The creature appears to be in a state of undress and has an odd-shaped head. Gomez asked for the public help to identify what it might be. A post on the video suggests everything from an actual troll sighting to a glitch in her camera. The video has accumulated well over 12 million views just days after its release. And Gomez addressed several skeptics, stating that the video hasn't been altered in any way, shape, or form. The video is still up on Miss Gomez's Facebook page as well as other places for viewing. There is also a large wooden troll carving in the small ski town of Breckenridge, Colorado. The giant troll, named Isaac, was built by Danish wood sculptor Thomas Dansbo from the wood scraps left in the area by park visitors. After Isaac was completed, 2 small girls visited the troll and gave him a heart-shaped stone as a gift. Dansbo made this stone a part of the 15-foot sculpture. Isaac is an easy 10-minute hike from Illinois Gulch Trailhead or a 20-minute walk from downtown Breckenridge. The statue was made to bring awareness to recycling and upcycling. Visiting the troll is free, but you may have to pay for parking. With all the terrifying tales I tell on this channel, you know what's even more terrifying? Having your beard all out of whack. And that's why I now use Average Bro's beard oil and balm to bring my beard back to life. With smells like sandalwood, cedar, and spruce if you like the woods, or cedar citrus if you like more of the orange smell. When you use the beard oil and balm together, it will give your beard much needed girth and power. Because a bigger, fuller beard is a better beard. Yeah. What I love about their products is not just how well they work, but how clean the ingredients are. And the fact that they're made right here in the grand old US of A makes things all the more better. So if you want a beard like this, simply head on over to AverageBros.com and enter the code WLB2022 at checkout for a 30% off the entire store. And if you're sitting here thinking, well, that's great, but I don't have a beard. Well, it's probably time for you to start growing one. Connecticut. Situated in picturesque New England, the Constitution State has a rather interesting history with cryptid sightings. In 1878, an assistant engineer aboard the steamer State of New York, the name of the vessel, stated he saw a creature peering out of the water with its head raised several feet above the waves, and it had a body long enough that it created an arc behind the head. He also went on to state that the arc was tall enough to drive a team of oxen through. Then, in 1881, a fishing vessel coming in from a day on the water with several passengers reported seeing a veritable sea serpent moving slowly across the surface of the calm water. An 1886 New York Times article recounted the story of people lined up all along the riverbank in Middletown, waiting for a water serpent that was observed earlier that week by a fishing boat. The onlookers wouldn't be disappointed. As they looked on, out of the froth rose a big black head as large as a flour barrel and with eyes as big as small dinner plates. The head kept rising higher and higher until 10 feet of the neck appeared. The men did not stop long enough to make a long or thorough examination, but they feel sure that the sea serpent must have been a clear 100 feet long. There were other sightings in several Connecticut rivers in subsequent years that were reported to be reputable news sources like the Boston Globe, New York Times, and local newspapers. The river creature or creatures were never given a name, but to present day, people still seek the elusive river monster that so many swear inhabits the waterways of their beloved state. When covering cryptid stories, if you were to ask someone to recount a tale that they have heard, most times you'll get a Sasquatch story, or the occasional werewolf. However, there are other mysterious tales of otherworldly beings that people are sometimes more than happy to share just to have somebody talk about the experience, so they don't feel crazy. Such as the recollection of the Melonhead story of several people all around the state of Connecticut, described as small humanoid creatures with bulbous, veiny heads, and surviving on roadkill, small animals, or the occasional lost hiker. They are said to live away from populated areas, on old country roads, and each town in the state of Connecticut is said to have these deformed country people. The Melonheads are also said to have lived in Bavaria, Germany, and were known as Weebleheads. Stories of attacks on people began to surface after World War II, and it's summarized that they could be families that were banished after claims of witchcraft made them retreat to the deep forest, where they would be hard to find and prosecute. Because of isolation, they resorted to inbreeding, thus giving them the deformed heads of which they are named for. Other theories say Melonheads were escaped mental patients from the Fairfield Hospital or Garner Correctional Institute, which housed inmates with mental health issues. Both facilities were in Newtown, Connecticut. A medical explanation could be as simple as hydrocephalus, which causes the head to swell. Nevertheless, a popular story about the Melonheads is still told as a cautionary tale to hiking enthusiasts looking to escape the city life for a few days. After a football game at an unnamed high school, a group of girls climbed into a blue Granada that belonged to one of the teens and, seeking a thrill, decided to go on a hunt for a melonhead. Driving along Old Sawmill Road, the girls found a place to pull over and venture off into the woods. As they made their way through the brush and thick foliage, they heard the car doors close and the engine start. The car began to roll towards the girls, and as it came closer, they could see that what appeared to be a child-sized being operated the car. What really freaked out the girls were the size of their melon heads and their orange-colored eyes. The girl made a run for their lives, and the legend says that the melon heads can still be seen occasionally cruising the blue car on down Old Sawmill Road, looking for new victims. However cheesy it might be, whatever the origins of the melonhead beings, it seems as though they have been around for long enough time that they're here to stay. So, if you find yourself going for a walk on Old Country Road in Connecticut, be warned. There are little humanoids in the forest that think humans taste like chicken. Delaware. The first state is said to be one of the most haunted in the entire Union. Ghost stories and cryptid sightings are so plentiful in Delaware that visitors to the tiny state could stay in almost any township and find that their hotel or B&B is probably haunted. Built in 1871, the Grand Opera House in Wilmington, Delaware on Market Street is said to be one of the most haunted places in all Delaware. Head custodian Chaka Hollis has had several run-ins with a mischievous spirit that likes to move his mop bucket and relocate furniture. Hollis has worked at the famous opera house long enough that he has an understanding with its ghostly inhabitants. I have learned to announce myself to the building. I say who I am and what I'm doing, and then they are fined, he tells In-N-Out magazine that trying to change a burned-out light bulb one afternoon, that the light bulb wouldn't come loose. Hollis had solicited help from another worker, but try as they might, the bulb would not budge. After several attempts, they gave up and went on. Then he says, then the bulb unscrewed itself and floated slowly amidst the ground. Then it fell the last few inches to the floor and shattered with a loud pop. It was scary. Meanwhile, at the Rockwood Mansion on Shipley Road, also in Wilmington, Philip Nord, the director of the 150-year-old mansion, was doing one last sweep of the home before locking up for the night. As Nord went into a parlor, he observed a man sitting in one of the chairs in a red silk smoking jacket. Nord recognized the jacket as one of the pieces of historical clothing that belonged to none other than Edward Bringhurst III, the homeowner from 1884 to 1939. I thought the staff hadn't checked every room, and the man in the chair was real, a flesh and blood being. As soon as I saw him wearing that jacket, I knew it was Edward," Nord had said of the situation, and he went on to say that he was dumbfounded and speechless. And as Nord turned to walk into the next room, the man spoke to him and said, "I see you." And when Nord turned around to address the man, he was gone. And there are many other haunted places such as Delaware City's Hotel, Newcastle's Penn's Place, and one cannot forget Chessie, Delaware's own Loch Ness-type sea creature that purportedly lives in the Chesapeake Bay. The legend of Chessie is said to have started when a military chopper was performing touch-and-go exercises of taking off and landing for aircraft and a pilot, right over Bush River, Maryland. The crew reported seeing something reptilian and unknown in the water. Even though these two events happened in a nearby state, Chessie is said to actually reside in the waterways of Delaware. In 1982, Robert Frew, just offshore of Kent Island, Maryland, looking for Chessie. He was equipped with a camera and filming equipment just in case he was able to find the mostly elusive serpent. After a while on the water, Kent was able to catch footage of an unknown water serpent. Having the evidence he wanted, Kent took the video to the experts at the Smithsonian's for examination and identification of the aquatic creatures on video. They did conclude that what Kent had filmed was in fact a living, breathing animal, but what kind, they couldn't say. The video was also shown to International Society's cryptozoologist expert Richard Greenwell. Greenwell stated that Kent may have filmed a rare descendant of a prehistoric whale species known as zeuglodons. He used the reference of a fish thought to be long extinct 60 million years ago that was found in the waters of a river in South America. Whether Chessie is a rare whale or Delaware's very own Loch Ness-esque creature, Delawareans are very protective of their beloved water serpent. If you would like a chance to view Chessie, there are several websites that can direct visitors to rivers where she has been seen last. Good old Florida, the Sunshine State. It's home to many types of strange things like cryptids, and there are even reports of Florida's own Sasquatch called the skunk ape or swamp ape. It is said to stalk the swamps and Everglade areas. People that have come into contact with this ape or type of creature said that they smell it long before they encounter it. Encounters with the swamp dweller goes back as far as the first indigenous Seminole settlers that had their own name for the beast, to which they called it Esti Kipkaki, which translates to the tall man. As tales of Sasquatch gained in popularity through the 1970s worldwide, Floridians were busy trying to pass a law to protect their much-loved skunk ape. Unfortunately, for those that felt the smelly ape-like cryptid needed protection for would-be stalkers and trophy hunters, the proposed bill of protection did not pass. Florida is also home to the Wampus cat. The first reports of the half-mountain lion, half-wolf feline, also known as the Cherokee death cat, goes back to the 1920s. People had contacted newspapers to warn farmers that they were losing livestock to this ferocious feline that wasn't your average mountain lion. Their fur is said to be the same as weak as their eye color. The distinctive difference, and what could be the most notable, is Wampus cat has said to have 6 legs opposed to the usual 4. This anomaly is thought to be for defense, 4 legs for running and 2 for fighting. The cat is also said to have spiked tipped tails. Because of the attacks on livestock and the number of incidences, any town that has reports of the Wampus cat implemented curfews for their own citizens. Folklorist Vance Randolph said he believed the cat was amphibious and could even swim like a colossal mink. The Wampus cat is one of Florida's most popular cryptid sightings, second only to the skunk ape. A lesser known and talked about Florida cryptid is the snoggaloster. Perhaps the animal that Florida is most known for is the American alligator, reaching lengths of 11 to 15 feet and weigh as much as 2,200 pounds. Alligators have lived for millions of years supposedly, and the average lifespan of the reptile is around 35. A group of tourists out viewing the threatened species at Lake Okeechobee on a hot and muggy August evening. Okeechobee is home to over 30,000 alligators and allegedly a cryptid relative called the snoggaloster. One of the women in the group was taking pictures and video of several gators wrestling with what she initially thought was a food source when, from out of the water, the tail of what looked similar to an alligator but had different looking scutes or osteoderms that looked like a fan blade or a boat propeller. Scutes are the plate-like scales of the hide of the alligator. The woman took several pictures of the tail as the thrashing continued in the water. Then, the head of the weird-looking gator had surfaced. The snout and teeth looked right, but where the legs should be was just a smooth body. The creature was also twice the size of the largest gator that she had observed at the lake. Curious as to what she had seen and not getting a satisfactory answer from the tour guide, the woman began looking into the animal and soon came across the snolligoster. The picture was a dead ringer for what she had seen in the water. She was able to compare the pictures that she had taken on her trip in her research, and she learned that the snolligoster lives off the flesh of humans. They use the large spike in the center of their back to skewer humans and will even save the body until a later time to feast on. They are said to live all over the South, but mostly call Lake Okeechobee home. What really gave the woman shivers was realizing people that have gone missing from the lake may have also been victims of this same creature. The unnamed woman has returned to the area trying to get more footage of the legless reptile. She said she will keep returning to the lake until she finds the snolligoster again. I know people will think I'm crazier that I saw a mutated or deformed gator, but that isn't what it was. What I saw that day was too large to be a normal gator. This thing was different, and I will prove it one day, she had said. If anything, Florida seems to be a hotbed of the strange like many other states. Georgia, the peach capital of the world. Georgia gets its nickname, the Peach State, from the tremendous amount of peaches harvested from there each year. Georgia is also known for the thunderbird cryptid that has been seen flying through the skies with not a care in the world, other than where its next meal is coming from. And if you happen to be out while this enormous bird is looking for dinner, it might be you that ends up the bird's next victim, as an 8-year-old boy in West Point found out. While out shooting his BB gun, the boy recalled how his neighborhood was in thick woods. He had been in front of his yard shooting at random targets, but made his way around to his backyard to target practice a few aluminum cans. Having set the cans up, the boy brought the gun to eye level and was about to fire when movement from a tree caught his eye. A huge eagle-like bird was sitting in an oak. It was so big the branch it was sitting in was bending to the point that it almost broke. Now the boy didn't know if it was real, so to test if it was, he pumped the action of the BB and fired. It was a direct hit, but not enough to hurt this bird. It flew off, breaking the branch that it sat atop of, and the boy commented on feeling the air from the wings that he estimated were 25 feet to 30 feet wide. In his excitement and fear, he drops his weapon, heads for the safety of his own house, and the child told his father what he saw. And upon returning to the backyard, there was no massively huge bird in sight. Now, the boy said his father believed him, though, because 4 years later, while watching the History Channel, the boy saw a show about Georgia thunderbirds, and that's when he knew what he had seen in his own backyard that day. And keep in mind, guys, that we are just barely scratching the surface of every single state and the small things and sightings within each state. Every location, every territory, every county has so much more to offer. It's virtually impossible to cover all this content. So be sure to join us next time in the third episode where we cover the next 5 states in alphabetical order. So what do you guys think? I would love to know your opinions. Be sure to go ahead and drop them in the comments below. And as always, guys, if you're new to the channel, be sure to go ahead and hit that big ol' red subscribe button down below, or maybe it's up here somewhere, if you enjoy this kind of content. As always, guys, I love you all. Keep an open mind, and I'll check you guys out in the next video.